Hey RVacationers, we're leaving today from Jones Station in Mebane, North Carolina. We expect to arrive at North River Campground about 5 hours later. We're staying at the North River Campground in Shawboro, North Carolina, because we didn't want to be right on the island. There is a tropical storm, Elsa, headed our way. Plus, I'm not a big fan of staying in heavy traffic areas. I like to get away from the crowds when I want to go to just rest around the camper. Most of the campgrounds that we've experienced try to put as many campers as they can on the campground. Plus, we saw a lot of things that we wouldn't have otherwise seen if we stayed on the island. We saw the Gravedigger Monster Truck Museum and Shop and bought the grandkids some souvenirs there. We also saw frequently black bear sightings. There was a guy that told us there that that part of North Carolina has the heaviest per capita black bear sightings of anywhere in the country. Hi, I'm Wayne.
And I'm Norma from RVacationer.
Follow us as we travel in our motorhome and Jeep Cherokee.
Subscribe and click the notification bell.
I think we could drive under him. What do you think?
Turn left on Carrington Island Road.
That's the office and looks like the residence for the people that live here. Bathhouse. They do have a little boat to rent. The campsites all circle the pond or the lake. And then the upkeep of the landscape is perfect. They do not want you parking on their pads at all. Can't blame them for that. And then you go back out that way to go out to eat or go to the Outer Banks. They have paddle boats. Looks like an unmotorized pontoon boat sitting there. You can rent those at the office. Landscaping is immaculate here. Everything trimmed up to the nth degree. Have a pool. We have a little kids pool section here, and then if the little kids just want to sit and watch somebody else swim, they can do that. Here's a view of the lake from the floating dock that the boats are tied off to. Norma doesn't like floating docks. So this is the moment we've all been waiting for. This was our most anticipated reason for coming to the Outer Banks. We're about to go through the tour and have a wonderful guided tour ranger that gives us information about the Wright Brothers and their life and trials and tribulations that they went through to make it where we can fly where we want to go today. Hello.
Do you have a national park pass?
Have one of those?
The back of your pass, or the back of your pass is the front of your ID. Yeah. How many adults are in there?
Just my wife and myself. Thank you. You have a good day as well.
We're here, and thank the good Lord, our America the Beautiful path didn't cost us a penny to get in here. We got to go to the Wright Brothers Memorial, something we've been wanting to do for several years now. We had planned on doing it last year, but that didn't work. So we went this year, and we had an excellent little guide. She was Ranger Tony. She was very knowledgeable about everything about the Wright Brothers and the museum and all the grounds and stuff, so she took us on a good tour. She told us about them growing up in Dayton, Ohio. They grew up playing and thinking and working together, and neither one of them ever married, so they were just constantly with each other, coming up with inventions and stuff.
So they told us they were self-taught. They were not college degree professors or engineers or PhD majors or whatever. They were all self-taught. They grew up during a time where if something broke, you had to fix it. And their dad was gone most of the time. She didn't say if he was in sales or traveled or military or whatever. He was just not there most of the time. And so the mom taught them how to fix things. She gave them a good work ethic and determination to be successful. And that's a big key to what they had to go through, because inventing something that everybody else was saying could not be done, and it was going to be thousands of years before man would fly and all that kind of stuff, and they were just determined to prove everybody wrong, and they did.
They were very protective of their knowledge too. They didn't want to share it with anybody. They wanted to be the first ones to fly, so they were protective of it. All of their data and everything was shared only between the two of them.
They did have one. They basically financed the entire thing themselves, working and paid for it themselves. They didn't want anybody else to have any rights or claims to the success or the failure of their inventions and patents. And they used rudimentary tools. Back in the early 1900s, late 1800s, they had a bicycle shop, so whatever they used was hand powered. They didn't have Walmart or Harbor Freight to go buy a new tool from. They had to make a tool if they needed it. So we saw some of the tools that they actually used. They found out, keeping this private, they found out through a confidant, somebody that they knew they could trust, about Kitty Hawk, this island, Outer Banks, off of North Carolina. At the time, there were no bridges. The only way to get there was by barge. So they disassembled their aircraft, got it down here, and they looked at leasing or renting or using the barge to get the aircraft over to Kitty Hawk. They needed an area that was mostly sand, so if they crash, it wouldn't, it'd be a softer landing if they crash. They needed a constant 20-mile-per-hour wind to help get the lift, and then to get their aircraft over to Kitty Hawk, which was undeveloped, nobody here, no shops, no stores, no buildings of any kind, no vegetation, food, or whatever. They had to modify their aircraft because the wingspan was wider than what the barge could bring across, so they had to rebuild their airplane and get it over here and then reassemble it. And first of all, they had to build a living quarter so that they wouldn't freeze to death or sunburn to death.
All right, so my question as we were walking over here was a good question. She wanted to know where they got the skills to do, where did they, the knowledge and the skills, and they were pretty much self-taught when it came to the mathematics and the engineering know-how. They just read a lot. If they needed to know something, they went and found a book and they read how to do it. So they were obviously very mathematically, engineering inclined in their brain, right? Not everybody finds that interesting or easy to understand, but the Wright brothers obviously did. And just a little bit of backstory, the person in their life who inspired them and encouraged them to tinker and to think about things from an engineering standpoint was actually their mother. She was a very able woman when it came to making things and fixing things, and their father was gone a lot when they were kids, so their mom just fixed things. So maybe you've seen this picture before, you might see it again, it's real famous. But today you are standing, some of you are sitting, where this photo was taken. So as you look at it today, I'd like you to go ahead and shout out how looking at this picture right now makes you feel? Inspired. Amazed, inspired, hopeful. Impressed, hopeful. Yeah. So remember that this showed a century of inventions in flight. And I want you to think about what happened from 1903 to 2003. Now, I'm not going to guess anybody's age, but I'm going to take a gamble that I have at least a couple of people here who remember watching Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walk on the moon. So if you remember watching that, go ahead and raise your hand. Whoa! Check that out. Oh my God!
Workshop there on Kitty Hawk, and that's all part of this exhibit. And it's not a replica, it's the real buildings that they used. And there's a hill where the monument is located that they used that hill to glide, learning how to maneuver and lift and yaw and sway and roll the airplane. They used non-powered gliders, and they would glide off of this hill. And if you can imagine, we tried to walk up to the monument and couldn't make it even with paved sidewalks. Can you imagine taking an aircraft up there to fly off to see if it worked, and then making modifications, taking it up again, flying off, taking it up again? That wears me out just thinking about it. Hi friends, thank you for joining us on this video. If you would, if you have not already, we need a real big favor. Not like a kidney or a lung or anything, just a real big favor. Hit that subscribe button right down there, that red one. Right in there. And when you hit that, you'll see a little bell. Click on the bell so you get notified of all our future videos. And give us a thumbs up. We would appreciate it very, very much. Thank you. Have a great day. See you in the next video.